Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America,
to the
to the
republic
republic for which it stands,
one
nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Supervisor Vecchio?
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy?
Here.
Councilman Creighton?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack?
Resolution 3L, adoption of amendment to Chapter 76, Article 1 of the Code of the Town of Smithtown entitled Meetings and Hearings as it relates to public participation at town board meetings. Okay, can you hear me now? All right. We're all going to be friendly tonight, right? Can you? Hello? Now?
That's better. Yeah.
Can you hear me now? Yes, okay. Could you take the roll call on that, the vote
3L.
Okay.
on 3L?
Councilman Noack? Councilwoman Noack?
Yes.
Councilman Creighton?
Here.
Councilman McCarthy?
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio?
Yes. Okay. The first public hearing tonight is to consider a zoning petition 2015, number 10, by Kings Park Solar LLC for a special exception for a public utility installation and operation of photovoltaic solar energy production facility. The property is located on the north side of Old Northport Road, 400 feet west of Indian Head Road, Kings Park. It's zoned to light industrial at the present time.
Supervisor Vecchio
Tully, you said-
and members of the town board.
you said
Should-
yes.
My name is David Flynn. I'm the town planning director. Just before the public hearing begins, I would like to explain to the board and to the public the nature of tonight's application. Under zoning, there are different kinds of applications, and some of them are for certain kinds of development and others for certain types of uses. And those applications can be made to different boards. Tonight's hearing is for a special exception. And the nature of a special exception, I think, is worth explaining. In zoning in most towns, including ours, there are two kinds of permitted uses. Those which are permitted as a matter of right, and those which are permitted by special exception. Matter of right uses, let's say in a residence district, would be single-family homes. All someone needs to do is apply for a building permit, and they're entitled to build that single-family home. Other uses in residence districts that the town board or a town board may think are necessary, but could cause problems if they're not properly cited or they're too intensive for the property that they're on, come under a different classification called a special exception. Those uses the courts have deemed are uses that are permitted. They're permitted provided that all of the criteria, all of the standards that are in the zoning ordinance that pertain to those uses are met. So in a residence district, for example, single-family homes might be permitted as a matter of right, but something else, perhaps a daycare center or a cemetery, might be permitted by special exception because the daycare might be, let's say, on a small street that can't handle the traffic. Or it might be on a site that's too small for the building that's proposed and doesn't have enough room for parking and playgrounds.
Put underneath, I guess. Thanks.
That's basically my presentation on what this hearing is about. The purpose of the hearing itself is not supposed to be a colloquy where people debate the merits of the situation. The purpose of the hearing is to get public input about the criteria and about the use.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the first person wishing to be heard is Fred Eisenbud.
Is there no presentation by the applicant?
There will be. Is the applicant here? Oh, I apologize. Okay.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me okay, everyone? My name is Kim Nason. I'm an attorney with Phillips Lytle. We're here representing BQ Energy and their affiliate Kings Park Solar. With me tonight is Paul Curran from BQ, Tim Ryan from BQ, and Jennifer Miranda from TRC Consulting. They're happy to answer any questions anyone may have this evening. As you know, we filed an application for a special exception permit in late August for a public utility. Tonight, we're here to present on the project, have the public hearing, and answer any questions anyone may have. BQ is proposing to install and operate a solar energy production facility on a parcel off of Old Northport Road. It's approximately 27.4 acres. The land was formerly used as a landfill for the town of Smithtown and is currently a driving range. The project will consist of approximately 18,000 panels for interconnection to LIPA's distribution feeders. All of the power created by the project will be purchased by LIPA for use by residents of Long Island. The project will generate approximately 4 megawatts AC of renewable power. That's enough energy in the first year alone to power over 1,000 average New York State homes or to offset over 1,700 metric tons of CO2. Our project is proposed in the light industrial district. To the north, we have industrial, open space, medium residential, including a condo community, and the proposed sports park. To the east, we have commercial and industrial. To the south, open space. And to the west, we have industrial, the town of Smithtown landfill, and a driveway that will be used for the proposed sports park. In light of this driveway, we have proposed a screening hedge all along that driveway, running the entire length. They'll be approximately 8 to 10 feet when planted and can grow to 15 feet in height. 115 will be planted and it will run the entire length of the driveway. We are planting trees along Old Northport, and the existing vegetation on all sides of the project will be preserved. For setbacks, for a public utility, all of the setbacks must be 100 feet. The project meets all of the setback requirements for light industry. Our front and rear yard have setbacks that are greater than 100 feet. However, our side yards are less than 100 feet. On the west side at the narrowest point, it's a 25-foot setback, and on the east side at the narrowest point, it's about 32.7 feet. The light industry requirements for side yards is 20 feet. We've requested this reduced setback in order to produce sufficient power to make this project economically feasible and also to allow for greater setbacks on the areas where there may be more sensitive receptors, the road and where there's the condos and residences. Pursuant to the town code, the town board may modify the setback standards where appropriate, and we request that the board do so. This project is consistent with the town of Smithtown's comprehensive plan update, which notes the need to develop renewable energy strategies and adopt policies that provide acreage for clean renewable power production. Similarly, the County Planning Commission issued a report finding that this is an extremely suitable site for the project and an excellent reuse of a former landfill. As you may know, BQ is also working with DEC and the AG's office to resolve a matter concerning construction and demolition debris that was previously placed on the site by prior owners. The BQ's plan is to modify the already approved work plan and to consolidate both. There's 2 piles right now of the C&D material. BQ is proposing to consolidate those piles and then cap with a gas vent layer, a geomembrane, a barrier layer, and a topsoil layer. Jennifer can answer any questions on that work plan if anyone has any tonight. Next, BQ also undertook community outreach. They met in November with the Country Point at Kings Park Homeowners Association and the Kings Park Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors to discuss the project. Next, I'll ask Paul, if possible, to come up and speak a little bit on BQ's specific experience with this type of project on landfills.
Please.
Good evening. My name is Paul Kerr, and I'm the managing director of BQ Energy. We're a renewable energy company based in Poughkeepsie, New York. I founded the company about 10 years ago, 2003, so more than 10 right now, in order to site renewable energy projects on brownfields, landfills, and underused land. It was after we had built a project similar to this in Europe in an oil refinery, which was very successful and worked very, very well. We built a number of projects, mostly wind in the early years, About 5 years ago, when solar became economic, we started doing more work on solar and have done a number of projects throughout the Northeast using this kind of concept. LIPA came out with an RFP about a year and a half ago now, looking for renewable energy projects in the service territory. We went out to the DEC and frankly looked for specifically sites that would be large enough and suitable for this type of application. We were successful, and LIPA has awarded us, based on that RFP, a long-term contract to sell electricity to them. The design in this case is very similar to many, many others that exist in Suffolk County. Solar panels do not have any moving parts. They pose no health effects to humans. In this case, there's no moving parts. There are some designs that do. We've decided, because this is on a landfill, to have a stationary system, which would use commercially proven inverters, commercially proven racking systems, commercially proven panels. We set back from the vents, which are the existing there from the landfill properties. We also are required by DEC, after long negotiations, to do some cleanup work, which we budgeted and we will undertake when we get moving. We look forward, frankly, to working with our neighbors in the community. It is a very compatible use, and we think we can fit in very well in the town of Smithtown. We look forward to that.
Thank you. Is that, ma'am, that's your last witness? Yes. Okay. Mr. Fred Eisenbud?
Good evening. Frederick Eisenbud. I'm head of the Environmental Practice Group of Campolo, Middleton, and McCormick. I'm here on behalf of Prospect Sports Partners and in opposition to this application. A little history is important. In 1994, the driving range received permission from this town board to have commercial recreational use. At that time, the planning director, DeRubius, wrote to the board and said, this is a really good project because it's over the landfill. There's only a few things that will make sense. This one does, and besides, it's in close proximity to the ice skating rink, the tennis center, and now we're going to have the driving range. And hopefully, this will attract other people to come here with similar uses. We all know the problems we've had trying to do something with Old Northport Road and to make it a bit friendlier than it is to uses other than heavy industrial. Now, that was approved. In comes Prospect Sports Partners, and they come to this site and they see these same uses all around, but now there's also a driving range. And it makes perfect sense to them to take the 3 parcels in the back owned by Santilli and to turn it into a super project, which you're all aware of. All those approvals for the sports complex were made last year by the town. And I'm not going to describe it because I don't have enough time, but it's a wonderful project. It's consistent with the area. So now there are 70 acres of land that are zoned commercial recreational use. Our client received the site plan approval in July. And then 1 month later, in comes this application to change the recreational use to public utility and to take away the driving range and to put 18,000 solar panels on. That is wrong. Our client will describe for you the difficulty that they've had trying to get tenants who were very interested before to talk to them as a result, and it's going to kill the project. So our recommendation to you is, for the reasons in this gigantic handout that you all have, which I handed up, that you deny this application because it simply does not comply with the requirements for the special exception. In particular, it is inconsistent with its nearby recreational use. It's destroying the recreational use, the driving range, and it's inconsistent with the one that our clients propose. On that basis alone, it should be denied, and because they're telling you that they can't move forward because of economics unless you grant them 25-foot and 23-foot setbacks instead of 100-foot, which is required, well, then they ought to go away and find another place. They represented to you here that the comprehensive plan says it should go here. Absolutely not. What it says is here should be recreational. Near Lawrence Road is where the solar should go. Not here. They misrepresented to you when they said this site is appropriate. It is not. They should go to the sand pits over near Lawrence Road, put their project there. That's where it belongs. It won't hurt our client's project.
Thank you very much. Kenny Henderson.
Good evening. Thank you. Thank you for the time this evening. My name is Kenneth Henderson. I'm the managing member of Prospect Sports Partners. Our opposition to the application of BQ Energy and Kings Park Solar is not because we are opposed to solar power or clean energy. We are against this particular application due to the unknown impacts and safety that the release of the methane gas and the electrical generating facility may have, as well as the visual degradation to the area. If you build 18,000 solar panels across the driving range, it really puts a damper on our visual, as well as our kids that are going to be hundreds of thousands of kids will literally be coming by there every day. It's not safe. It's unnecessary. It's an unnecessary use. It's a shameless attempt by Kings Park Solar to enlist the town to help to change the rules after the game, after we spent hours, money to make this area substantial and basically the community recreational. Prior to 2015's submission by Kings Park Solar, potential tenants for the indoor, outdoor medical facility restaurant were plentiful. We've had about 15, 16 people contact us since the application and basically say that they are opposed and will not rent from us, and then that puts us financially in a burden. We are really, really struggling now to keep our head above water. We started this dream about 6 years ago, working side by side with the town for the last 4 to make this a reality. The town board, the zoning board, the planning department, as well as the Department of Environmental and Waterways could not be more helpful in acquiring our permits. We received a secret negative declaration, variances needed from the BZA, and a special exemption for the community recreational use. In July, the site plan approved our site for phase 1 of our project. Just months later, however, Kings Park Solar submitted the application to eliminate the golf range, a wonderful recreational use, above a closed landfill. Now, they want to cover the landfill with 18,000 solar panels and electric transformers instead. We were shocked. Site work had just begun. We conservatively estimate 315 construction jobs, more than 200 full-time jobs, and another 200 full part-time jobs that will be created when our project is complete. In fact, based on our standard, on the standards for square footage for real estate, we'd be looking more closer to 500 jobs. Our projections are over $38.5 million in taxable spending per year for the area, and with an immediate value of $6 million a year annually economically. And now we are absolutely 100% uncertain if we can build this, plain and simple, because nobody wants to come behind the solar panels. None of our tenants, none of the medical uses, none of the restaurants, nobody. So, how much time do I got? Okay. Kings Park Solar proposes reduction of the side yard setback from the west from 100 to 25 along the 1,300-foot bike path
Ken,
that we produce. Yes, sir.
you have to cease.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Joseph Barbagallo.
Hi. Thank you. Good evening. My name is Joseph Barbagallo. I'm a professional engineer with and a senior principal with the company of Woodard & Curran. I'm also a board-certified environmental engineer with the American Academy of Environmental Engineers, specifically in solid waste. I have experience both in landfills, landfill closures, athletic facilities, and general municipal and secret operations. In summary, I've given you a detailed review. It's part of what is in that large book you have. I'm going to pick out some highlights from it. In summary, following our review of the application, our conclusion is that the application has not met the requirements of the special exemption permit. And putting that assertion aside, my technical position is that putting the solar on landfill requires thoughtful consideration and feasibility analysis at this level. We have a simple sketch showing what's going to be on this site. There's really no detail associated with that. I also believe that that there are significant potential impacts that need to be analyzed and evaluated, and right now they have not been. It's very difficult for a board like yourself to be put in a position to review such an application with such limited analysis. And I've detailed in my comments here the kind of analysis and the things that I'm referring to. I'm going to briefly run through those. The applicant, even in their presentation this evening, talked about some hedges that might grow to 15 feet. But typically a project like this, you would want to have really a more robust visual analysis done. Something that looks at where can this be seen from, not when you're walking on the street next to it, but the hillsides, the second floors of homes, the second floors or third floors of apartment buildings or office spaces, which we know will be in this vicinity. A complete visual analysis needs to look at those things. This board may have some other concerns about some sensitive receptors that you would want to understand. Can this be seen from those locations? It would appear appropriate that this analysis include, or this application include such analysis. In addition, the applicant has talked about visual glare and really only studied the MacArthur Airport Tower. I mean, no discussion of what that visual glare might do on the surrounding community. I think that's worthy of consideration as well. It's well documented by the EPA and other regulatory bodies that a project like this should start with a more complete and robust feasibility analysis to address important items that could affect and potential impacts. I'm going to run through a couple of them. Settlement. Landfill settle. I understand this landfill has been in place for a long time, but we're talking about consolidating some mounds and putting additional material on top of existing waste. That will induce settlement. I promise you that will induce settlement and will have an impact on what's built on top of it. That needs to be considered as to what is the level of that impact. Gas is an item. The regulatory bodies and the guidance documents also very clearly describe gas. Habitat loss. There will be habitat loss. It's well documented that photovoltaic results in bird kills, vectors. There will be habitat created for vectors on this site. I'm done. My big one, settlement and stormwater is another big one. I think the applicant has misrepresented what they can do on settlement.
Thank you. Boris Miller? Boris Miller?
Good evening and thank you. I'm a retired physician. I recently came to Country Point about a year and a half ago from East Northport, where I resided for 50 years. I knew nothing of this potential project until I received the registered letter in the mail and tried to find out a little bit about it. I don't claim to know anything about the physics of electricity, but I do know a little bit about the effects of radiation sickness. I perused a few articles that I was able to obtain, and the solar panels do emit dirty energy, and that's done by the inverter, okay? There are some inverters that will not do this, but they're not potentially used in this project, I don't believe. I'm not worried so much about the radiation to myself. I'm at an advanced stage, and radiation is an insidious process, and it could come symptom-wise years later, but I do worry about the young children that might be there. So for that reason, I don't think it's a very good idea. I think we have enough land on Long Island that we could find a place that's more appropriate. Thank you.
Thank you. Gregoire Hertzwig? I'm sorry, it's a, I didn't say that right, did I?
Georgine Hertzwig.
Georgine, right.
Hi, my name is Georgine Hertzwig. I'm a mother, first most, and a business owner of a training facility that's possibly considering coming to join Prospect Sports. However, if you allow the solar panels to be built on this parcel of land, us as a tenant, we will not come, and I, as a mother, would not allow my children to play baseball there. So I think you should consider to not allow it. Thank you.
Stanley Salamers?
Thank you, Supervisor Vecchio and panel, for listening to us. The solar panels that would be placed off of Old Northport Road would create a Love Canal situation for the people of Kings Park. The radiation and methane gas produced into the environment will play havoc with the health of my neighbors. Possible lawsuits which might come after this will not bring back the lives or heal the ills of the people affected by this program. I think it should not be allowed to go through. Thank you.
Thank you. Neil Rosenberg.
My name is Neil Rosenberg. I'm president of the HOA at the Kings Park condo, Country Point at Kings Park condo. Our condo is not a senior citizens condo. We have many, many children that live there. We're adjacent to this proposed, what do you call it?
Solar farm.
Okay. Okay. The project is being proposed is considered to be, consider to be a residential area. This is not a compatible site, in our opinion. Okay? What I've learned tonight is that the people who are proposing it, Kings Park Solar, has said that there's no radiation, there's no nothing, no noise, there's nothing coming off this. This is not going to hurt anybody. However, there's literature on the internet that says contrary. It says literature on the internet that talks about radiation coming from the inverters, noise coming from the inverters, etc. So there are too many unknowns, in our opinion, much too many unknowns. And what I would like to request is that you have the sponsor submit an EIS written by a third party, someone who has nothing to do with the project, not someone who just gets up and says, don't worry, nothing's going to happen. It sounds like Mr. Trump, okay? Anyway, so that's what we would like to see, an environmental impact statement, and that'll get to the bottom of the risks, okay? So we do not, at this time, accept this project. Thank you.
Thank you. Wow, can you read that?
Mike Rosado.
Mike Rosado.
Mike Rosado, Kings Park. As the board members know, I've been a big proponent of solar in the industrial area. I think in certain areas, select areas of the industrial area, it would be appropriate. But I've also been a big proponent of Prospect Sports. And Prospect Sports, for years now, has been trying to build this recreational facility, which I think would be a tremendous asset to Kings Park and to Smithtown. And I think we should give them that opportunity to go forward with their project. I think if they're going to build this project and it's going to work effectively, they're going to need more than one way in and one way out of their facility. Currently, there's only one way in and out, and that's on Old Northport Road. Planning would probably know better than I, but they probably would need another access and an exit point on Indian Head Road. And I think that needs to be looked at before we approve a solar project on the adjacent property on Indian Head Road. So I think we need to take a long-term view of the area and how we're going to develop the area. So instead of doing a piecemeal, allowing a solar farm next to a rec center, we have to decide how we're going to develop the entire area. And I think that goes back to the importance of a master plan. And if the master plan has selected this area for recreational development, I think we should give Prospect Sports or somebody else the opportunity to develop the area in that way, and think about moving the solar project to another area of the industrial area. And we might even want to consider the MSF as an alternative. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you. Okay, we've exhausted the people who have requested to speak, so I'll move to close the hearing.
Second.
Supervisor Vecchio?
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy?
Yes.
Councilman Creighton?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack?
Yes. Okay, we'll now read the agenda. The hearing's over. We got the Board of Orders out. You want to read the Board of Order Commission?
You got right here, you're good. Appointments by the supervisor. Right there.
Sitting as Board of Order Commissioners?
Do you want to change over?
Yeah.
Or you want to wait a minute? I don't think you want to go to the Board of Water. You already got this started.
We'll, Tommy doesn't want to go to Board of Order Commission.
Yeah, because you're in the middle of the other one.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a meeting to conduct here. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to conduct a meeting. Hello. Oh, yeah, really? Hi, Pat Vecchio. We have. And you work in the city? Well, no, I said you worked in the city. Where did you work? Oh, okay. Did I like it? They do, huh? I got a couple of young kids that join. They hate it. They really hate it. Well, you know, they got things like now they have what they call car stops at on 7 o'clock in the nighttime, 4 in the morning shift. Singly, no partner. Stop. Ladies and gentlemen, we ask you to leave. We have to conduct a meeting. You want to start reading, Tommy?
Sure. Appointments by the supervisor. Supervisor Patrick R. Vecchio hereby appoint Sarah D'Amato to the Youth Advisory Board, the term of office November 20, 2015 through December 31st, 2017. Correspondence. Parade Run Walk, Hop Hog Schools 5K Parade Run Walk, third reading. 2, Building Department Report, October 2015. Okay, advertise for public hearing. The town board to authorize the town clerk to advertise for public hearing to be held at the Victor T. List Boardroom, Town Hall, 99 West Main Street, Smithtown, New York, December 15, 2015, 2 p.m. to consider proposed amendment to Chapter 112 of the Town Code entitled Building Construction.
Councilman Noack? Councilwoman Noack? Councilman Creighton?
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy?
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio?
Yes.
Uh,
The resolution, the town board to do study and deliberation of subject record to issue a secret negative declaration determination of non-significance in the following matters as stated by a memorandum of dates indicated as per 1A, B, and C. Application by David Lawrence Amina for St. James Healthcare. Change of zone petition 2015-04 by Bolo Operating. An application for site plan by DSD Real Estate Holdings, LLC.
Councilwoman Noack?
Yes.
Councilman Creighton?
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy?
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio?
Yes.
Item number 2, the town board to authorize the town clerk to advertise for the following bids to be returned to Town Hall 99 West Main Street, Smithtown, New York, 11 a.m. on the dates indicated. Bid 15-068, loader rake, December 10, 2015. Bid number 15-069, sale of surplus metals, December 10, 2015.
Councilwoman Noack?
Yes.
Councilman Creighton?
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy?
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio?
Yes.
Item number 3, town board to approve the following. Number 3.1, town board regular night meeting, September 24, 2015 at 7 p.m. B, town attorney or appropriate official to enter in a stipulation of settlement. Town clerk to issue a parade one walk permit for Hop Hog School District. Town board to amend resolution 2015-866. Supervisor Patrick R. Vecchio, appointment to the Youth Advisory Board. Rescission of resolution 2015-976. Horizon Counseling and Education, Lisa Copier. Christopher Carter, Assistant Town Engineer, to attend a continuing education seminar. Adoption of Year 42 Community Development Program. J, effective January 1st, 2016, annual stipend of $1,000 for switchboard operator for translation services. K, adoption of policy statement as provided for the PHA plan. L was already voted on. M, Rebecca Cassay of Avalon Park and Preserve, Sue Simon of the Greenbelt Trail, and other volunteers to provide services. N, change in direct control by Alice NV of Cablevision's franchise agreement. O, Tony Canone and Robert Sabatino deliver a truck as per town guidelines. P, the supervisor to enter into collective bargaining agreement with the civil service employee part-time unit. And Q, appointment of Susan Solaro, petty case officer of town clerks.
Councilwoman Noack?
Yes.
Councilman Creighton?
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy?
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio?
Yes.
Town board to authorize the controller to execute the following on 4A through O. There will be multiple transfers and increase in revenue codes as per the printed agenda.
Councilwoman Noack?
Yes.
Councilman Creighton?
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy?
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio?
Yes.
Number 5, the town board to authorize the supervisor to execute the following on the form approved by the town attorney as per 5A and B, specialized service agreement and with time for kids and flip gymnastics, and B, specialized services as per the printed agenda.
Councilwoman Noack?
Yes.
Councilman Creighton?
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy?
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio?
Yes.
Item number 6, the town board to authorize acceptance of 6A growth and life bond as per the printed agenda.
Councilwoman Noack?
Yes.
Councilman Creighton?
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy?
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio?
Yes.
Number 7, the town board to authorize the release of the following. It's for 7A, release $20,000 ExxonMobil Corp., and B, Chase cashier's check in the amount of $3,800, both per the printed agenda.
Councilwoman Noack?
Yes.
Councilman Creighton?
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy?
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio?
Yes.
The personnel, 8A, B, and C, the town board to approve the following personnel matters. 8A, part-time appointment, B, reclassification, and C, part-time appointment.
I will add a date to that, and it's a return from medical leave for an employee named Peter Linder. You could
Count.
call the vote.
Councilwoman Noack?
Yes.
Councilman Creighton?
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy?
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio?
Yes.
And the traffic, the town board to authorize the following amendments to the Uniform Traffic Code and to authorize the Traffic Safety Department to install and maintain the necessary signs under traffic. A, Schedule J, parking, standing, and stopping. B, Schedule J, parking, standing, and stopping. And C, Schedule J, parking, standing, and stopping.
Councilwoman Noack?
Yes.
Councilman Creighton?
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy?
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio?
Yes. That concludes town hall business.
Site plans and water. What do you want first?
Sitting as a Board of Water Commissioners, Bob, you want to read that? Here it is.
Sitting as a Board of Water Commissioners, request approval for a Town Board of Water meeting November 3rd at 2 p.m.
Call the vote.
Councilwoman Noack?
Yes.
Councilman Creighton?
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy?
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio?
Okay, we're reconvened as a site plan review
Wait,
board.
wait, wait, wait.
You got one more?
Transfer from account personnel salaries, $10,000 to the overtime salary account for the water board.
Councilwoman Noack?
Yes.
Councilman Creighton?
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy?
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio?
Yes. Sitting as a Board of Site Plan Review, Town Board to approve the minutes of the meeting of November 3rd, 2015. 2, to conditionally approve a site plan for Storybook Hollow Preschool for proposed change of use of an existing office for a daycare center. And 3, conditionally approve the site plan for St. James Healthcare for proposed front entrance canopy and vestibule.
Councilwoman Noack?
Yes.
Councilman Creighton?
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy?
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio?
Yes. Okay. Bill Nussbaum wishes to be heard.
just came tonight to say I'm so happy that the shelter is coming along really well. Sue Hansen's doing a great job. A lot of programs are in place. We're open Sundays. People are starting to come in on Sundays, and I'm very happy to see that because the adoptions are creeping up. And I just want to say thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nussbaum.
Thank you.
Is this Ken Talbot?
Good evening. I just wanted to take a quick moment to thank Councilman McCarthy for his help and diligence in getting us the no parking signs some of the residents in our street had asked for. From the moment I first spoke with him, he listened to my concerns, took charge of the situation, communicated progress at every step of the way, and saw to it that our safety concerns were both addressed and the cause of them corrected. He was professional, dedicated, receptive, and courteous at all times, and a pleasure to work with. His assistant, Donna, was equally helpful and receptive when I spoke with her. On behalf of all the residents of the street involved in the petition, I'd like to extend our deepest thanks to Councilman McCarthy and all of the town board for their attention and swift action in this matter.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Fred Eisenbud?
Thank you. I'm now wearing my hat as a resident of Smithtown since 1978. A week and a half ago, I wrote to the board and asked you to consider adopting the Suffolk County Planning Commission's Model Solar Code. And I think it's critical that you give your attention to this. I looked at the town code with regard to solar. It's allowed under the light industrial, but if you look at the special exception for public utility, it doesn't mention anything about lot coverage. There's a 42% lot coverage limit for light industrial, but it's defined in a way that theoretically they could just measure the bottom of the solar panels and cover the entire property and still be consistent and eliminate all open space. That's what was done out in Shoreham in the town of Brookhaven. It was a 60-acre Delalio sod farm, 53% lot coverage. The planning board approved a project that covered every acre, every foot of it with solar panels because they didn't count the space in between. The model solar code fixes that problem. It says you can have up to 60% lot coverage for solar, but you measure that by drawing a line around the panels and the associated equipment, and the 60% has to fall within that. And it expressly says 35% has to be maintained as contiguous open space, preserving natural habitat. I think it's just good planning. There's vagueness in the code as it exists today, and that vagueness would disappear if you were to adopt the model solar code, which the town of Brookhaven has done. So thank you very much for your consideration.
Thank you. I'll move to close the meeting.
Second.
Councilwoman Noack?
Yes.
Councilman Creighton?
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy?
Yes.
Supervisor Vecchio?
Yes. Do you want